Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and today we're working on page 6, and I started to lay down some of the flaps before I realized I wasn't recording. So I'm going to back up and cover what I've done so far. So I've installed, and by the way, this is the same as page 3, it's just a mirror image. I've installed the left and right flaps. We're going to add one more flap. So this flap is, and I'm going to verify the size, 3.5 by 8. 3.5 by 8. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 3.5 inch side. It's going to get applied to the left hand side of page 6. This panel is 5 by 8. 5 by 8. You're going to need 2 of those. And on the 5-inch side, you're going to score a 1/2 inch. So 5 by 8, 2 of them, score a 1/2 inch on the 5-inch side. It's going to get applied to the right hand edge, and then we're going to do what we had done previously, where we're going to rest the flap on the open flap and the hinge on the open flap, and then close it to find its location. Sorry you guys, I made that mistake earlier, but hopefully this is clear enough, and if not, you've got page 3 that you can reference. Okay, so that is what this is going to look like. Okay, and actually I want it to close this way. And then we're going to have this 1/2 inch gap. And then we have these 2 pieces, which are 5 5/8 by 5 5/8. And that size comes from one of the ephemeras that you can, or one of the cut aparts in the collection is 5.5 by 5.5. And that's where this 5 5/8 comes from. I want a nice even mat around it. And you're going to need 2 of those, but they're going to get applied in the designer paper. So it's a topper, so we're not going to add it right now. And I also don't want to add my magnets until I get this installed. So I'm going to wait on where we're going to put the fastener until we get the designer papers in. So I'll go over that one more time. 5 5/8, you're going to need 2 of those. 5 by 8, you're going to need 2 of those. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 5-inch side. 3.5 by 8, you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 3-inch side, and that's going to get applied to the left-hand side. And that's it for page 6. I'll be back with some designer paper in just a minute. Hi everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I'm back again today, and we're still working on Sea World from Stamperia, and I gotta double check, but I'm pretty sure this is page 6. Yes, this is page 6. So I want to get a little bit organized, and I think I'm pretty good to go actually. So this is what I've chosen to go here, and then this, and then if you recall, we've got what's called a topper that's going to get attached on this side. And yes, so these 2 are not glued together. I've just got them covered front and back, and it's going to be applied like so. And I want to show you that I've already put a magnet in here. So once this gets affixed to this thin panel over here, before we apply this, we're going to add a magnet on this side. But first we want to make sure this is actually attached to the flap, and so it's not moving up or down, and we know exactly where the magnet's going to go. So be sure, if you're doing the same thing I am, this is the front and this is the back, and you want to apply the magnet. Actually, I did it backwards. Did I do it backwards? No, I didn't. You want to apply the magnet on the side that is going to be closest to its mate. So I did it this way. Now, if I would have attached it here, the only difference would have been, it would have been taped here, and then there would have been a layer of tape over it, in addition to having to pass through this black cardstock and the designer cardstock. This way, it's not having to pass through the tape, so it at least saves one layer. So try to think about that when you guys are designing your albums and putting in your magnets. You want to try to arrange the magnet so that it's passing through the least amount of layers of paper and tape as possible, so that the attraction is nice and firm. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and set aside all these components, which are going on the right side, and all these components, which are going on the left side, and think this through, because I was originally planning on doing this, and then I just reminded myself I'm gluing this down, and I'm going to cover up the diver, and I'm not really crazy about this side. So I'm going to see what my other options are. And this is these are my two options. This one, so I have it lay over like that. Sorry, I'm scrambling. And these are options because they're the same size and I won't have to cut a new piece of paper. So it could be this dark piece right here or this lighter green piece. And I think I like the lighter green piece. And then this piece is gonna go split the two. So I've got that, that's gonna lay down in the middle. So I think I'm gonna go with this lighter green piece. I'm gonna go ahead and get that glued in. Set that back over here. And then when I open it up, we'll go ahead and get this strip in. So let's see if looks like we're ready to go, except we need ink. Okay, there was a little pause there because my son came in to talk to me for a minute, so I'm back down. All right, this quarantine stuff is killing him. It is so hard to be 17 right now. I get it, but we got to do what we're supposed to do. So that's a hard thing to hear when you're 17. Anyway, hopefully you guys are at home staying safe and sound, and your families are doing the same. We're here in San Diego. I think some of you guys already know that. And at least according to the CDC, and you guys all heard enough of this, but you know, California's not, I think we're number 4 in terms of the most affected people. So we're trying to be very, very cautious. I don't leave the house. I'm not that old, I'm 57, but I do, I have had pneumonia before, which makes me feel like I might be a little bit more at risk because my lungs just aren't what they used to be. So I'm not taking any chances. All right, enough of that. You guys hear that all day long. Okay, so here is the little piece. So let me tell you, where did I get this? I think, yeah, this came from the 8x8, and it's one of the side pieces. So like, here's an example. So I just took one of these and trimmed it off. So that's where it came from. There's only a few of them, but they make for nice little borders. So I've tried to cut a few of them out here and there. And here's one from the 12x12, and I'll use it as a sort of as a separator divider somewhere else in the book. Okay, just a reminder, we're on page 6. Page 6. And this is Stamperia, and the collection is called Sea World. And it's very interesting. It's kind of a steampunk Sea World collection. And they've got a couple of collections. This particular designer does lots of steampunk kind of stuff, which is fun. I think it makes for really cool books. All right, so that piece is in. So now I'm going to think about what we're doing here. I have to lay my pieces back out again to remind myself. Okay, so these are going to be the insides of here. I think we'll have this dark piece in the center. Yeah. And these two, these two. Yeah. We'll go like that. And then it looks like this is not going to be quite wide enough. So I might either cut another piece or find a trim piece that's going to work here. So right now I'm planning that. This is planned for the cover, and then our starfish is going to go here. So I'm just kind of looking at it one last time before I start to glue down pieces, so I know which piece is going to go down before I put the magnet in. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so here I think I'm going to do this. Yeah, okay. So let's put this piece in. Let's test it. It looks like I've got it trimmed. Not quite. Not quite. It needs a little bit. Very good. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was checking in with my husband, who's been working in the yard. All right, so hopefully we should be able to get the rest of this page finished uninterrupted. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn it so I can see these edges a little bit better. Here we go. Lovely. That looks perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is since this is finished front and back, we can go ahead and apply this and its mate, and then find the magnet placement over here, and then we'll finish decorating, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I like to glue it together outside the book and then add it, but this is really pure preference. So if you guys want to put one piece down, open it up and lay the other piece down, you can do that. I want my outside corners to marry up, so I'm going to put my outside corners down and then add glue and slip it over. And, sorry, I was trying to find my pick tool, so I was stalling a little bit. So I'm going to shift this. So basically I'm going to put glue on this top half and press it together, and then I'm going to add some more. I'm going to open it like a clamshell, add some more glue, and then slip it over this panel. Boy, I'm just making a mess everywhere. Sorry about that. I got to get that up while it's wet. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. So I'm trying to see which way do I think is up, and I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think it's really preference. Where do we want the star, on the top or the bottom? I think I'm gonna go this way. I just looked at the flip side. It's really not directional, so you can do whatever you want. Okay, so that's on. So these corners matter the most because they're going to be floating off this panel. These corners don't matter because one's going to be on this side and the other's going to be on this side. So having those made up is not as important, although in this case they do, but it's not as important as the corners that are going to be on the outside of the flap. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now half of it's glued together, and so we're going to open it up like a clam. We're going to get some more glue in there, and it has to go on both sides because you need glue on both sides of this panel. Okay. There we go. I'm going to semi-close it, and we're going to figure out where we want it. And I think that's about what I want, which is roughly centered. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to get something to make sure that it's going in straight. And it is. So I'm going to press it in place. There we go. That's in now. So that's a nice little photo spot or journaling. Now this side is directional. I didn't think it was, but there are words on here and I did get it in right side up. So you might want to pay attention to this side. This side, I couldn't find any words. I guess there's some numbers down here, but I like this orientation. So that's what we're gonna do. It's done, it's in. Okay, now we've got this piece. And it can go this way or this way. And this is going to be here. So, and I'm just laying it in right now to make up my mind about which side I want. But before we get too much further, I've decided I want this flap to close over this way. This is the spine. So I want it to close away from the spine. So the magnet's going to go on this side. So I'm going to get ready to put that down right now. Okay, and as usual, I've got my tape behind it. I like to use that wide tape that goes over the whole magnet because it helps soften the edge of the magnet once it's down. Okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and glue this in since we're on this page. So let's lay this in and dry fit it. And that looks good, so it just needs some ink. Okay, there we go, that's in. So this is, let's go ahead and take a look at what it's gonna look like closed up. So there it is. Okay, so now we need to start decorating the inside. And let's take a look. Well, I know I want this to be the centerpiece, so let's get that in, and then it won't be floating around anymore on us. That's so pretty, but I know I wouldn't be able to put a picture on it, so I'm going to flip it over. Okay, that's in. Now We need to make a decision about this. So I think originally I cut these two, but they're exactly the same. I didn't notice that originally. So it's the whales, it's even the same part of the paper. So I'm not liking that. I think this makes it less obvious that they're the same. Well, that's not true. I mean, it just looks like a continuation of the pattern. So I'm just stalling a little bit. I think I'm gonna put it down. What to do? I'm gonna look really quickly and see if I've got any more papers that are the right size. Width, I don't think I do. Yep, that's not quite. It's the same one too. It's the larger. It's the 12 by 12. For whatever reason, I got a lot of that paper. Well, I'm gonna go with it. Symmetry. That's what I'm gonna call it. Symmetry. That's the other option. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put that on the flip side. All right. Okay, there we go. We've got the inside done. Okay, so we still have this one surface and this surface to cover. And I think what I am going to do is try to find another strip like this so that I can put it over here and it kind of looks framed out when it's open. So I'll be right back. Let me see if I can't find something. Okay, I found it. So this is from one of the sides of the 8x8 album, and it happens to be right off the edge of where the diver is on the 8x8 album, and I found a scrap that still had it intact, so perfect. So this one's already glued in. I'm going to glue this one in, and then we'll trim this piece to fit. Let's get this in, and then we'll take a look at installing this. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So one of the other, while I'm waiting for my glue to come down, this is the other place where you can get those borders. It's on the back side of the back page. So I kind of make it a habit to preserve these because most of the time it's an 8x8 album, so I can still get a page covered with this, and then I can save these two edges. So you might want to look at that on your 8x8 and 12x12 and think about that. And if you want, you know, cut those out ahead of time so you don't cut through them. And then when you're later looking for borders, they're all, you know, cut in half. So just a thought. The other pattern that I used in this collection for borders is the sheet that looked like this, because it just lent itself to a border, because it's a pretty simple repetitive pattern, which I think is what looks best on borders. Okay. Looks good. Okay, now we're ready to put this in, and we're going to color block. So what does that mean? It means there's going to be a slight separation between this panel and the border. So we're going to trim it to fit. And then once we have this placed, that looks good, we're going to repeat the process over here. We've already put this in, but we'll need to trim this piece to fit perfectly. All right, so that's trimmed. Let's get some ink on it. And we're winding down on page 6. So I got a note from one of you guys, and your name escapes me at the moment because I'm not sitting in front of my computer, that said they didn't know we had a shop. So I'm glad you figured that out. Hopefully you've had a chance to visit our shop. But if you are new to the channel and you don't know that, we do have an online store, and it has the same name, Scrap and Create. So if you just do www.scrapandcreate.com, you will find our shop. So we always make our videos free for anybody who wants to watch them, but we do hope that you do give us a chance to earn your business by coming over to the shop and checking out what we have in stock and our pricing. We do our best to be competitive, but of course, you know, can't really compete with big box stores, but we do our best. And then we carry our feature or signature paper lines, our Graphic 45, and anything Graphic 45, Stamperia, and Ciao. So those are the 3 companies that we do most business with. We also do have some 49 and Market flowers, some Prima flowers, Graphic 45 flowers. So we do a couple of those as well. But those are our big main items. And then in addition to that, we also have a couple of tools. Not a whole lot, but we do carry nice scissors. This glue tip that I use, which it's one of the biggest time savers. I don't spend any time looking for the pen to put in the top of the bottle. This is a tool that actually I created out of necessity. I'd originally done it with an Omni grid and then redeveloped it for my purposes. This is available in our store, and then we also carry these powder puffs, which I really like. The powder puff comes with a pretty spongy top, which makes it perfect for applying directly on paper. It's not real firm, so it doesn't leave like a hard edge when you're using it, and it means you don't have to have an applicator. So I'm not looking for my applicator that matches the ink that I'm using, that kind of stuff. So I really like it. So those are huge time savers when you're making a lot of albums like I do. So there you go. Okay, so now enough of that. We're gonna get our last piece in here, and I set it aside, and of course naturally I mixed it up with everything else. And I think this was it, yes. And we still need to trim this just a tiny bit. And I'm just thinking about, I do want to keep him up, since when we close this and open it, he'll still be exposed. Originally I had him planned here, and then he would have been partially covered by this. So let's go ahead and put him in here. And then we have this nice green flow here. So I'm liking that. So he needs a little bit of a trim, because we're into the score line. I'm just starting with a little bit because he's almost centered already, so I'm going to try to cut off both sides so I can keep him centered. Is that going to be enough? Almost. That should do it. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay, let's go over and do a little housekeeping here to get all the distractions out of the way. Let's go over page 6. Okay, so there is the closed position. So all the A sides up, B side, and B side. There we go. I like it. I'm happy with it. I like the color blocking. I think it makes it very interesting. That is the end of page 6, and the next time we get together, we'll be working on page 7. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. I'll be back soon.